Hello and welcome to another episode of Selling Life Annuities. I'm Steve Allison, Annuity Specialist, and with me today I have Tim Luby, our National Sales Director of Annuities. And today we're going to be talking about the status of suitability in the annuity industry. So I guess the first obvious question we should probably talk about, Tim, is why do carriers have suitability requirements?
Yeah.
What's the importance of that?
That's a good question. Yeah, because people complain about that and say, "Oh, the suitability stuff's so difficult," but it really is important. Basically, what it comes down to is the industry, the carriers, don't want to let people buy annuities that don't make sense for them. So the suitability process, while it sounds daunting, all they're really trying to do is make sure that the product, the annuity that person's buying, is suitable for them, that it's in their best interest to buy that product. I guess clearly partly what they're saying is that it's not just in the best interest of the agent. It is in the client's best interest to buy that product, and they're better off for it. So that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. But yeah, it can be kind of daunting when you're filling out applications and you have these 2 or 3 pages of suitability questions and whatnot. But so the status of it, has there been some changes?
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly, we have seen lately, suitability's been around for a while, but lately we've seen a few different carriers that have sort of eased their suitability requirements in a way. They're not saying that we're making it easier. They're not advertising that they're doing things differently. But the reality is the changes that they've made have been made to broaden the scenarios that would be deemed appropriate, that would be deemed in the client's best interest. It's not like they're looking at things differently. They're just being a little bit more open-minded about it.
Yes.
Under the older strict rules, you could have situations, for example, where it really was in the client's best interest. In fact, in some ways, the client would be injured by not being able to go forward with the proposed, a new purchase. But the company, because of different rules or standards, would say no. So it's not that that's changed completely, but they're identifying a broader set of criteria that will identify cases as being suitable for the client.
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of cases that may not have been approved years ago. They're on that edge, or they may actually get approved nowadays. So it's kind of
one of the examples that I have, one of the things that I've seen a few different carriers do now is bonuses are kind of back and a little bit more popular now than they had been. And so we're seeing more carriers that will consider the bonuses either on the income base or even on the account value, depending on what their client's trying to do. And they'll count those bonuses when they look at the total, like net surrender charge. So a surrender charge and market value adjustment might be applying. But if they have a bonus to offset that, we're seeing more carriers that will consider that bonus and even allow a little bit of a negative net surrender value, if you will, fly from a suitability standpoint. And again, why would they do that? Because the client's still going to be better off for the change.
Yeah. And so that's definitely something they need to reach out to us for when you have surrender charges dealing with current annuity policies, and you want to know if we have some policies out there that have high bonuses. So that's something you need to reach out to us on. What about, is there specific percentages of liquidity that's required? I know that's part of another big segment of the suitability.
Yes. Well, there are percentages, and they vary by carrier, and we don't necessarily know what they are all the time. There's not many carriers out there that are going to balk at anything where you might have up to 50% of someone's liquid net worth, let's say, in an annuity. But we do see carriers now, and we see some exception situations, for example, where we might find ourselves at 70-75% of someone's liquid net worth that can be an annuity if it makes sense. And again, I keep coming back to that. It's got to be in the client's best interest. It's got to make sense. No one's going out there and being rogue and doing things that are going to hurt customers. That's never going to fly. But we are finding a broader set of rules where the client's better off, we can get the case issued.
Yeah. And so you mentioned a little bit earlier, but I want to kind of circle back on that. We talked about maybe bonuses on income riders, or maybe the goals have changed for a client and they want more income now than they had more of accumulation idea. Carriers have different rules and stuff like that involving what they will and won't accept with that. Well, can you briefly kind of go back over that one more time?
Good point, Steve. So like we said, I guess the key is that it has to be in the best interest of the client. And so the questions you have to ask is, does it meet their needs? Is it in their best interest? Are they in any way harmed by this change? And so, that's really kind of what it comes down to. Yes, things have changed, but the fundamental reason for suitability and the steps that we have to go through, the hoops that we have to jump through, they haven't changed.
Okay, great. Well, so basically in wrapping this up, I mean, obviously, if you have come across situations like this with clients that maybe have surrender charges, you're concerned about overcoming them with suitability, reach out to both me or Tim. We can certainly help you out with going through the application or answering and giving you our best thoughts of whether it may or may not be past suitability. We can even reach out to carrier reps. But with that, how can they reach you, Tim?
Okay. Yes, my direct number is 330-283-6140. My email address is timl@gordonmarketing.com.
Yep, and you can reach me. My extension is 14000, and my email address is sallison@gordonmarketing.com. But with that, well, thanks for stopping by and watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get the next video that comes out. And with that, happy selling.